So if you make the bed well, and you make it consistently, and you make it with difficulty, you have a mastery of the thing. It's called, you become an artist. You're not just a bed maker, dude. You're an artist. And then you put your name on the bed. And then everyone goes to try to buy your beds because they're like, that guy, Julia Child's kitchen. Oh, everyone wants to be Julia Child's recipes. Why? Because Julia Child supposedly has this ability, this mastery over the craft. That's cool. Now there's other things though that we do we achieve only in the doing. Because if all of my activity was making things, I would cut out a lot of my activity. What about things like, I love you? What a weird activity that is. You make when you love somebody. Well, you might do things for them, but that's not your love. Here's my ring. Now I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to be with you. I don't have to spend time with you. Just look at the ring. You know I love you. Here's a house. Right? I don't want to live in it with you. I don't want to... Here's a dog. You're lonely? Here's a dog. Right? Well, wow. But you're at the same time, what does that mean? Have someone ask you sometimes how you love. This happens to priests. People come up to me and they say, how do you pray? They're like, how do you walk? I mean, how do you pray? I can't tell you how to pray. I can describe it. I can help you out. But I adore. I honor. These are really hard things because there is no object that is produced thereby. But there is an object that is reached thereby. So if I want to reach, Regina, I would honor her in my heart. If I cherished somebody, I cherish you. I will love you and honor you all the days of my life. Right? That's amazing. To cherish somebody. But you can't, but if you really cherish somebody, you would become accomplished. It's funny, it's like this type of action actually impacts you more than this type. This actually forms you even more. Because I can make stuff, and what it'll form my practical ability. But when I do stuff at the second level, I don't just form a practical ability, I form character. The man was gold. I remember a time I met a general in the French army. He was like a 5-star general. It was the highest type of general you could possibly have in the French army. And I remember he's a Catholic, goes to daily mass. And I remember he was retired, and I was over at his house, and I asked him, I said, how do you reconcile, your faith with the fact that, you had to kill people, and that war involves killing? And sometimes maybe not even killing combatants, maybe it involved killing other people, the death of the innocent whose your bombs killed. And I remember him just looking at me. I'll never forget it. He said, every bullet that was fired by any man under my command was fired by me. Straight in the eye. It's just there was such a solidity to that man. Every bullet that was fired by every man under my command was fired by me. He was looking me right in the eye. Absolute responsibility. Absolute ownership. And you're I was just nothing compared to him. You're just what am I, you know what I mean? In front of that character, that conviction, that solidity of purpose. It wasn't I'm a great shot. No, I might not have been a great shot. He was a great man. Density of personhood. Density of intention. Now imagine if you have a man saying he loves you, and he's sitting outside your window playing the guitar when you're 18, and you blush, and you start crying, and then you go and he gives you a hug. And then imagine the same man who you have been paralyzed by a train wreck, and he's standing at your bed with 5 kids squirming around his legs, and he's looking at you, and you're crying, and he says, I love you. And he takes care of you. Which one means more? Which one has more behind it? And then that same man who for 30 years takes care of you every single day and feeds you and bathes you and washes you and raises your kids and then still says he loves you. Same word, different experience, different meaning, character. But you see how it's a different type of action? I love, I wonder, I adore, I think, I contemplate, I enjoy. I mean, these are things that I do. But what I'm doing, I only find by doing. I don't make anything by the doing. I might make things in order to help them, but the doing is the thing. If I really engage in love, yes, I will engage in action, but I'm already acting. I've chosen to love you. It's one of the most dangerous things you can do, is choose to love somebody. Because when you do, you're in. You're committed. You're in for a wild ride. It's like telling Jesus, I love you. What do you want? And he's like, S-J-I. And you're like, oh my gosh, O-M-G. And he writes back, don't swear. Bow your head. Because you're like, are you serious? And he's like, but like at the same time, like how marvelous. Because you didn't do anything, but everything you did comes from what you didn't do. See, that's a great way of putting it. Like, right? What did you do? Show me what you did. I can't show you what you did, what I did. That's like a secret that's inside of me. But that secret's at the source of everything that I did. It's like the love that I have for my wife is the reason I built the house. And it's the reason. That's why she starts crying when you show her the house you built. Because she can see the love. You show her your hands. You show her your back. You show her your presence. This is my love. But what you're showing, there's something at the source of it that you can't show. And that's a thing that you did on the inside. And that you do for the sake of something else. But you find that something else in the action itself. See? This is so hard to speak about because in English we have words, but they don't really fit. And those words, you could say, it's kind of like one thing is like making, and another thing is like doing. So since that's kind of lame, we go back to Latin and we say facere and agere. Two words that you're going to have to know, memorize. It'll be on the final exam. Facere, agere. Facere, some of the words that could come from this, fake, but that's not a really good example. Facility would come from this. Facility, the place where making is done. And the ability to do, facility. To facilitate something would be to make it happen, make it, bring it about. Agere, we actually get the English word act from. Act. But facere means to produce, to build, to make. It means something that ends up with an end product. I mean, just think about it. Think about guys who are really good at practical stuff and how bad they can think about themselves. Well, I mean, dude, that's the most amazing guitar playing ever. I remember I talked to a guy who was wanted to be a professional musician. And I said, why is this so hard? Because you're agitated by the crowds. You're adored by your crowds. Why are rock stars always so mad and mean, dark? And he said, because they only love us for what we give them. We're being used by them all the time. They don't really know us. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, they know your passion, and they know your skill, and they know all that you're saying. But it's not nearly as deep as your heart. That agere, that action, is like to do in the sense of, performing maybe? I mean, it's not even that. It's like to do in the sense of acting. It's got an end. The end is the action. So if I really love you, then my loving is perfect. I can't love any more perfectly than love. Love is like such a mystery. It's so great. And when someone else loves you back, it's like your two loves meet and knot in the middle. But there's nothing there, but there is there. There's this thing called a ring. Facere agere. Okay, in this class, we're going to focus in on facere. The philosophy of art is looking at this action in all of its depth. And we're going to explore this in minute detail. And we're going to explore it by comparing it to agere. And it's going to be awesome. This next class that I teach next week is one of my favorite classes to teach. You're all going to love it. Because we're going to outline, you're going to see like how awesome it is to make something. What all that implies. And then we'll break down and we'll go through each of the elements that it implies. So that you can understand how my brain functions when I produce. And how different that is from my brain functions when I act. And how you get almost different personality types and different gifts. But I'll have to leave that for the next class. What do I want you to get out of this class? I want you to get out of it, number one, an appreciation for the breadth of intelligence. Number two, I want you to get out of it the wonder about action and the link between your identity and your action. And then number three, I want you to get out of it the distinction between facere and agere. If you got those three things, you can go to sleep tonight.
Can you say the second one again?
Wow. Why do you do this to me? There's always a student like this.
Action.
The wonder
Wonder,
between
that was the
identity and action. Okay.
Everyone else was wondering too.
It was a summary. It was a summary. You should already know it yourself. Like, I already said it like 4 times. Okay, cool. Well, let us pray then to Our Lady. Sing yourself, Regina.
All right.